2024, it's still legal to own anime and manga, child. And let me tell you, it is a booming industry.
Wow, are you telling me the creepy, weird shit that people have done for the entire history of people is still creepy and weird and people do it? What a shock.
Why will you put the big boy gloves on when it comes to calling out credit cards and their pseudo-monopolies that they run, especially like at big businesses where they give them massive discounts while they f small businesses? But when it comes to people owning CP material, you're like, well, that's just always kind of happened. Well, the elites have always controlled the world, so like, why aren't you brushing that off?
And look, if you don't know what that means, it means girl. And
it literally just means like cute fashion, by the way.
No response. Asmongold won't even do the bare minimum thing of being like, this guy just tried to say Lolicon is just cute fashion.
Oh, he's so great. I love his voice in this movie. I love his character in this movie. Yes, definitely smash.
This is the person that's calling you a creep. Yeah.
Asmongold, you're reacting to somebody who jumps off to drawn child on the right. You haven't said a single word about that, but you're going in on the person who wants to go into an adult bunny. Where are your priorities? Everyone's cringe, but there's probably someone who's a little more cringe, and it's the 8-year-old VTube character on the 30-something-year-old man who consistently justifies on CP. You don't think that that's weird? All right, guys, let's get into this. This seems kind of interesting. Somebody just sent in the Discord as I was going live. It's this whole back and forth kind of a thing between Asmongold, this other content creator named Catastrophe Claire Roar. A lot of information going on there. I guess she made a video about Asmongold, then she took it down. You know, coward. Am I right, guys? And then, but this guy who really likes Lolly, unironically, because I've interacted, like I've reacted to one of their videos of them criticizing Vosh, but not for the Lolly. That's weird. Criticized her, and then Asmongold reacted to their criticism of her. I don't know. I want to watch this video. I like to start as back as I can. Unfortunately, I can't watch the original one, which is kind of cringe. I don't know why you take it down, you know? Maybe it was really bad. But let's start here. And it's called Her Asmongold Hit Piece Backfired Horribly. Wow. Time to goon.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here. So today we're going to be talking about a video that's making the rounds on social media for all the wrong reasons.
All right.
It comes from a channel titled Catastrophic Claire Rar. Yes, very Rar XD, Quirk Chungus, Hot Topic, etc., etc.
I just don't know if you can make that criticism when your name is Rev Says Desu and you use a child as your avatar. I don't know if that criticism hits too hard from you, but okay.
But the video people are talking about is her latest one.
Okay.
Titled, Japan Wants to Censor Anime Asmongold Reaction. Now,
all right, cool. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. There's some wild, there's some wild degenerate stuff that comes out of anime sometimes, Japanese anime. Let's be absolutely real. How many shows are there about like this young guy who's kind of a loser, and then a bunch of girls start to like him, but then there's always like that young child character that's also in love with them, and it's like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? What are we doing? You know what I mean? For every berserk we get something disgusting. So depending on the censorship, if they want to do that, that's fine. So that's just wild.
In this video, not only does she call out Asmongold, but she also calls out the entire anime and manga industry, as well as
not the berserk fans. There's nothing wrong with that piece of media. I wouldn't censor that piece of media. It's horrible what happens, but it's a rather poetic. It's poetic. I'd say most anime is fine, but some of it gets like a little bit weird and gooner, you know?
Japanese society, which according to her is so predatory and dangerous, pretty much no woman is safe in Japan.
Well, here's my thing. I don't know if it's that far. That's a little crazy, but like, let's acknowledge that in Japan, they have train cars that are only for women because there is like a harassment issue there. They sell used dirty panties in vending machines. Like, you know, I love Japanese food. I think it's fantastic. Okay, the culture's not too bad. They love America. Watching anime, and they have American characters that are, you know, very well represented, like All Might. But sometimes they got a little bit of a gooner culture. Let's just be real. Let's not pretend otherwise, okay?
Now, let's start with the thumbnail itself. It is pretty heinous. It is implying very heavily that Asmongold is trying to protect predators. Now, what justifies in her mind this slander? Well, it comes...
Well, I don't think it implies that. I think it it explicitly says that. It says protect predators, freedom of speech. It's pretty explicitly saying that.
From a clip from a recent Asmongold video where he's talking about censorship of anime and manga.
It's about going in favor of free expression and free speech without having a unelected cabal of companies acting as a cartel that are behaving as censors for that speech. And
I mean, listen, I don't know the exact context of what he's saying. You know, if he's talking about Twitter or something, whatever. I think it's okay that we as a society go, some of this is okay and some of this is not okay. You know, it depends on what it is exactly. We do that all the time with like different ratings for different types of movies and stuff. You know, if they wanted to do something like that with anime in Japan, maybe that's not such a bad thing. I don't really know. Hey, what's up, Caleb Hammer? Thanksgiving week has blessed me with being able to watch live goons. Very good. Very good. Hopefully you're enjoying your time off.
Expression.
Obviously you're not, because you're watching my content. I'm just kidding.
Like, it's just so sad that people are saying this and it's just going unchecked. And I just wanted to say my piece on it.
I don't think it's that big of a deal what Asmongold's saying. I don't think it's necessarily worth a meaningful video where we sit down and criticize Asmongold for it, you know?
So basically, what Asmongold is saying is that groups like the United Nations or payment processors like Visa or MasterCard should have no say in the production of anime and manga in Japan. And hot take.
I mean, I guess I disagree. Only because, like, I don't think it's called capitalism. I don't know. Like, I'm a dirty capitalist. To me, it's called capitalism. You know, if a company like MasterCard or Visa or any other company wants to say, you can do what you want, but if you do something, we're not going to advertise it, we're not going to sponsor it, we're not going to throw our hat into it, they have that right to do it. They don't have to associate with any brand that they don't want to. So if that's what they decide to do, then that's what they decide to do. Now, there's a whole separate conversation about monopolies when it comes to like Visa and MasterCard. I was watching something the other day where, you know, sometimes it gets really predatory where these credit card companies, they charge like percentages of interest rates, right? So it's like 3%, not interest, whatever, 3% for the company to utilize them. So if you sell something for $1, for every, you know, the business that you engage with, they will have to pay 3 cents. So you put in $100, that's $3. That's why they'll usually raise prices if you pay by credit card in like a small business. But for big businesses like Walmart, what they'll do is they will get a huge discount on that. So I don't know the specific percentage, but instead of 3%, maybe it's 0.5%. And then that creates like a pseudo monopoly. And that's the problem that I would say is an issue. That's definitely an issue, but that's a separate conversation from like a business. If a business doesn't want to attach themselves with a brand, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you guys had your own business, you'd feel the same way. Like, it's the same reason why I'm not on here, you know, promoting specific people's OnlyFans or something. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't really want that to be part of my brand. That's what people do. Like, it's okay for you to do that, fundamentally speaking. You can pull out as a company from engaging with something if it doesn't align with your brand. That is perfectly reasonable and acceptable to do.
He's correct. These organizations have really no sense being involved with these things. It's way,
I mean, it depends on what context they are.
Beyond their reach. They shouldn't be controlling what's going on in the anime and manga industries. And anyone who disagrees with that has to basically bootlick the United Nations, which we'll talk about them later in the video. They are a terrible organization that is...
Why is the United Nations a terrible organization? What?
It's been going after Japan for decades now, trying to demonize and categorize a lot of fictional content as illegal, as she will do.
Well, just to be clear, this person is a Lolicon defender. So when they say stuff like that, what they're really saying is like, hey, drawn depictions of children, that's okay with me. Like, I don't know how the UN has been pressuring Japan. The UN is, it's United Nations. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I'm for the cultural spreading of Western ideology because it is the Western ideology. Let's see. Some pressing issues between Japan and the United Nations include press freedom. The UN has raised concerns about Japan's laws that restrict press freedom. Okay, so right off the bat, it sounds like the UN, the horrible UN, pressures Japan into being more free when it comes to their freedom of press. Human rights. The UN has raised concerns about human rights abuses in Japan, including the protection of whistleblowers and access to judicial process. Okay, these sound... Wow, the UN is terrible here. Yeah, okay, yeah, the UN is a horrible organization that apparently tries to push freedom of press and human rights in Japan, but they're bad because maybe MasterCard doesn't want to sponsor anime hentai lolicon manga? Wow, you got us on that one. Oh, what? That's just preposterous. What the fuck is this guy talking about?
And her own video. So let's let her continue on. This is actually from one of the clips she posted herself on a Twitter, but let's give it a
she might have dunked on herself and posted it on Twitter.
Listen.
But in 2024, it's still legal to own anime and manga child pornography.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem.
And let me tell you, it is a booming industry.
So, as always, I think there's something very disturbing about likening real-life victimization to manga panels.
This guy's dog whistling that he loves Lolicon. Just to be clear, this guy loves Lolicon, and their entire PFP is of a child. This person wants to jack off to Lolicon stuff. It's gross. Is it the same thing as an actual kid? Of course not. But it's the next step. It's gross. It should be illegal to own lolly. It's not a hot take. That's the coldest take I've ever had in my entire life. It's weird. What are you doing? Now, of course, the common response is they're actually 1,000. But I feel like we're getting a little too worked up over this. It's just that's what this is.
But as always, if you don't like certain aspects of anime or manga or just fictional content generally, that's okay. That's your prerogative. You're allowed to not.
Oh yeah, we're not talking about that. We're talking about porn.
Like things, but it doesn't justify you demonizing and attacking an entire nation of people as well as the related.
Let's not pretend the entire nation of Japan is sitting here like, I really need my lolly fix, guys. I need my lolly fix. Thank you so much. I need my lolly fix. What are you talking about? Why the fact that you're even trying to insinuate that the entirety of Japan is like, oh, we love lolly so much, please defend it. That's wild to me. It's not the entire fucking country. It's gooners. It's Japanese gooners that are supporting this. What do you mean? What?
Mediums. And on top of that, if you're going to create this standard for other people where in the video she says if a character's under 18 and sexualized, that's CP. Well, that standard's not...
I don't... See, that's the thing, is like, I think it's inappropriate. I wouldn't go as far as that if it's under 18 and sexualized, that it's CP. I mean, if like, it depends on what they're wearing. I still think it's inappropriate. But there's a difference between like explicitly blasting hams versus like, oh, I decided to put a 14-year-old in a bra, which is still disgusting, by the way. But like, I would draw the line at actual penor exposure. Okay? But, okay.
It can just be applied to the people you're attacking. It's also going to be applied to yourself. And if you look through her Twitter account, I mean, you have characters like this from Sailor Moon. This character's 16 years old. She made AI-generated art with obviously some sexual aspects to it. With the
What is this? AI art? I love it and gives us all a chance to live our anime dream.
hashtag booba, and she would do that again, same character with hashtag thick thighs, posting this that she created with AI as well. That would make her a hypocrite under her own standards. On top of that,
well, yes and no. I think that when we look at that being labeled 16, you could say that's inappropriate for sure, but that looks much more mature than what this guy likes to look at, which is his own avatar naked. Okay, that's the difference in the two of these situations here. It's a little bit different. Okay, one of those things is definitely a kid. The other one is more questionable. Okay,
that she's a big.
I mean, if you draw a character that looks like 25 and you call him 16, it's probably different between making a character that looks 7 and you're calling it 1,000. Those are probably two different things. Let's just be clear here. Let's just be absolutely clear here.
Evangelion fan, I mean, if you've watched the anime, you know there's a lot of fan service featuring underage characters, so clearly she either didn't watch this or she's just a massive hypocrite. And of course, because I always check this.
It's not really a massive hypocrite, just to be clear.
Real one. Whoever put this in, absolute real one. The voice is...
I don't know what's happening here.
Hugh Jackman, by the way.
She seems like she's a gooner.
And he plays the Easter Bunny. Oh, he's so great. I love his voice in this movie. I love his character in this movie. He's such like a hard ass rabbit. And you don't see it a lot. So yes, definitely smash.
Okay.
Ding ding ding, she's a furry too.
again, I don't know how you're gonna come at her for being a furry when this is what your PFP is a child. You're like 40 and this is your PFP. I just don't. I feel like when it comes to my list, I'm putting furries above. Furries are better than lollies. If you're a furry, you're kind of weird, maybe autistic, but God bless you. If you're a lolly, stay away from me. That's disgusting. Like, what do you like? You can't make this. You can't make this prescription. You just can't. I don't fucking understand. Where do you get the balls for that? What are you talking about?
Yeah, pretty much anytime you see someone talking about anime and manga and trying to demonize it, they almost always consume the exact same content themselves, and on top of that, they're a furry. It pretty much happens every single time. But let's continue on with her clip.
So just to be clear, none of that is true based on this video.
Up here.
Well, they're a furry, but
you can literally go nearly to any massive manga stores and areas in the major cities in Japan.
Okay.
And you will find areas of that manga store that is specifically for Lolita characters.
Yeah.
So this is a very simple point, but
that's not good.
Definitely always worth
I'm stuck.
making. If she considers this stuff in the background to be CP, by her own standard, she downloaded it, probably uncensored, and then posted it for thousands of people to see online. By her own standard, she just downloaded and then redistributed CP.
I think that this is just like a dumb criticism. I don't care. So what the argument is, she has this picture here. It apparently is of Lolly. She downloaded it and then she censored it so that she could use it as an example of bookstores. And you're comparing that to people who are buying that and making the pages stick together with just copious amounts of their disgusting goonercum. I'm not going to put this. I'm not going to play that game. I mean, that's just like, we obviously understand that there is a difference between those two, right? Like, if we don't, we could probably just click off my video. We understand there's a difference between her calling it out versus you coming in those pages to stick them together. Those are just, this is the most desperate, like the most desperate over intellectualizing they possibly can. And again, this entire video is this person justifying gooning to lollies. That's what this video is. They're not being explicit about it on purpose because they know that they can't be, but that's what this whole video is a justifier to goon to lollies. Just be clear. Let's go.
Like, are you crazy in your mind or something? Like, why would you ever think this is okay while you're demonizing it at the same time?
Okay.
It's just it just shows how stupid these arguments are.
Anybody who thinks that this is a good argument, you should be on a list. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're desperate. You're desperate because you don't think there's a problem with it. That's the thing. He doesn't think there's a problem with any of this media. Like, that's weird. What are you talking about? What?
How hypocritical all these people are.
Characters. And Lolita, if you don't know what that means, it means young girl. And
it literally just means like cute fashion, by the way.
This is
oh my god, dude. We know what a lolly is. We know what lollies are. It's supposed to be a young cute girl in anime. What are you talking about? It just means cute fashion. No, it doesn't. Look at you. Look at this as a child. The dog whistling is insane. It's insane.
The problem that the UN wants them to address. Honestly, I don't care if the character is over 18. If the character is over 18, I'm just going to be like, cool. Yeah, whatever you're into, man. If you want to look at that, that's cool.
Well, yeah, I do. I like to go into over 18 anime. I don't know if you'd call Mrs. Incredible or Maddie Fenton over 18 anime. It's cartoons. But you know, I will say though, there is a fundamental lack of BBW MILFs in anime culture, and I think it's concerning. I think it's very concerning. That's the problem I have. He's talking about Lolita fashion. Yeah, he knows what he's doing,
but not children.
Yeah,
that is so up.
It's like the coldest take I've ever heard. Like, yeah, obviously this should be undeniable by everybody.
So she's trying to basically mask what the UN is doing. She's saying this is all about protecting.
So she's like trying to mask that the UN is like pressuring Japan to not have the age of consent of 13. What is happening?
Kids, and it's only targeting the specific types of characters she's talking about. But that's a gross misrepresentation of what they're trying to do at
so far you've lied about everything you've said, so I don't even know if your interpretation is good.
UN.
Thank you for $2 from Kristen Bahasby. Good morning from California. Good morning.
So here's what they're actually doing. They've been targeting Japan for...
So we have a Reddit post as our fact here. Okay. I don't know how much can we take this Reddit post as a fact. On October 29th, the Committee of Elimination of Discrimination Against Women published a concluding observations on Japan's ninth report. This was prepared after a face-to-face review of the ninth report. The Convention of Elimination of Foreign Discrimination Act Against Women, held on October 17th, the final observation expressed concern that pornography, video games, manga, and other animated products may promote gender and sexual orientation based violence against women and girls, and recommended that the existing legal measures and monitoring programs be effectively implemented to address the production and distribution of pornography, video games, and animated products that promote discriminatory gender stereotypes and reinforce sexual violence against women and girls. However, although the contents of face-to-face review have been confirmed with the government, the Cabinet Office, Gender Equality, blah, 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 no questions were asked about manga, anime, and games. Despite not being confirmed during the face-to-face review, the concerns were clearly expressed. The one-sided content of the review denies the freedom of expression of manga, anime, and games, and calls for legal measures and monitoring to be implemented, which is extremely unjust. We will consider requesting that sources and grounds be disclosed, and also requesting a restriction if not possible. Okay, listen. Here's the thing. I don't think it's a bad thing to try to... It depends on how this is implemented. It is not a bad idea for any type of body, like a governing body, to say we should have some levels of restrictions on things that promote violence against women. I don't know the specific media, I don't know what they're specifically referring to or how they're referring to it. Yeah, I know in America there are books that will have, conversations in different ways about sexual violence. The promoting of that violence, I don't know if there's any law against, there has to be laws, USA laws promoting women violence in media. The reason I ask, violence against, let's see, I don't know if we have this. Generally speaking, I would say we should maintain like a standard, like a Western standard to some extent. I don't know if we should go as far as to create a governing body that controls it. I don't really know. How far should you go? If you have a piece of media that legitimately promotes violence against women, sexual or otherwise, that should probably be banned. But where do you draw the line on that? There's a difference between telling a story where there is sexual violence against women in it to be emotionally provocative versus a book that is trying to communicate that it's okay to abuse women, if that makes sense. So I don't know exactly where you would draw the line on that, right? Like, I think it's fine that you can talk about the violence and you can include it in your media piece, so that you can communicate a particularly emotional message. But if your book is like, yeah, it's okay to rape women, obviously that should be banned. Like, that shouldn't be okay to do. But again, I don't know how you would necessarily draw the line or the distinction between those two different things. But I'm okay with that. I don't know how I feel about the legislation. It seems very loose to interpret, which would be like my issue more than anything else.
Many years, and they can't really explain why they're singling out Japan in the first place. But anyways,
well, because Japan is like a kind of like a Western-ish country, and they get pressured because they have some laws that are very regressive when it comes to women. Again, there are train cars for women for a reason in Japan. Japan does have a more sexist culture than like America. They trade with us, so we have a level of influence on them. It's just like the reality. That's why we're having these conversations. And I think it's okay to have these conversations.
This is what they're talking about with some of these pushes that the United Nations are doing. The final observation expressed concern that pornography, video games, manga, and other animated products may promote gender and sexual orientation-based violence against women and girls, and recommended that existing legal measures and monitoring...
So those things are absolutely true. It's like one of the problems with like young men consuming tons of porn is that we're getting the incorrect education of like sex through porn, which is hugely problematic. It's like, yeah, there is a level of truth to that. That doesn't mean that we should necessarily ban the media, but there should be conversations about how it is and isn't consumed. You know, hey, thank you so much for the $5 from Jack Esposito. I lived in Yosuka. What is that? Oh, Yokosuka, Japan for 2.5 years. Great country. I once visited a 9-story adult store in Tokyo with my Japanese girlfriend. Crazy stuff there. That sounds crazy, but I mean, that's pretty cool.
Program.
Did you goon?
Be effectively implemented to address the production and distribution of pornography, video games, and animated products that promote discriminatory gender stereotypes and reinforce sexual violence against women and girls.
Yeah, so again, generally speaking, I like the message. I would be more hesitant about how they would implement that. That would be more of my concern.
So it's not just these specific young characters she's talking about. It's anything that promotes discriminatory gender stereotypes.
I love how in this person's community, that's all they have to say. And people are like, this is ridiculous. It's like, that sounds so reasonable to like 99.99999% of the world. What are you talking about? Oh, excuse me, not the world. Okay, of adults.
Whatever the hell that means. And without any sort of research or basis to make these claims, they say that these things in fictional content are somehow leading to real life abuse.
So just to be clear, like there's plenty of literature on how like pornography in general does promote sexual violence against women. You're just making up that there's no literature about that. This isn't even like a left versus right conversation. I'm like conservatives, progressives, we agree that like porn isn't great, and one of those things is that it will promote a sometimes a negative view of women, okay? Especially the stuff I look at, okay? Let's be real. Yeah, I don't think that's a hot take at all.
These people are basically...
I think that when you're showing a woman like getting violently assaulted, it's probably not showing... And okay, let me be clear. If you're showing a piece of media where a woman is being violently assaulted and the emotional message is that this is okay, that's going to lead people to think it's okay to think less of women in some capacity, right? Like I said, if you have a media depiction of somebody getting assaulted and your media depiction is like, oh, this is a horrible like moment, emotionally provocative, like that is supposed to emotionally drive the story into being like, wow, this is a horrible thing that happened to a character. When you're watching, you know, ghetto gaggers, and they're going to town on a woman, you might think it's a little bit okay to do that. And here's my thing: like I said, I think it draws the line. I don't think that we should ban ghetto gaggers. But I think that generally I'm on board with what they're trying to do, depending on how they're trying to do it. So my issue isn't because this person's issue is that this is all flat out wrong and they should never do it. My issue is just like, how would this be implemented in a way that would be considered reasonable? You know, I think adults should be able to engage in this type of content because both men and women do sometimes have like, you know, they have like fantasy fetishes. It's common for men and women to have like, you know, assault fantasy fetishes that they want to engage with consensually. And like CNC, and that's okay for an adult to do, and it's okay for an adult to understand and process because we're adults and we have the ability to separate like, you know, fiction better. But when it comes to a kid potentially viewing this, that's where it becomes an issue. So like that's really where I would listen, don't criticize me. I'm not wrong. Ghetto gaggers, come on. So again, it's about how would they implement this particular thing is more of the issue than it existing in the first place. Thank you for the $2 from Gelato. GG. Ghetto gaggers is insane. True.
Just a repackaging of 90s soccer moms who used to say violent video games make violent people, right? It's the same argument. It's just so woke.
I would argue that violent video... Well, here's the thing is that you can argue violent video games tend to be able to de-escalate people's interpretations. It just depends. Maybe I don't think it's a hot take to say that media that glorifies and justifies hurting women is going to make people feel more comfortable hurting women. I don't think that that's like a super hot take in general.
Backwards, and now we're having people trying to justify these connections between anime, manga, and what have you to predatory behavior. And
yeah,
and the only thing
I mean, the real question is like, would you guys be okay? Would you guys be okay with like CP, with like animated like a Lolicon CP? And we would say no, that's gross, and you shouldn't have access to that. Like that's what the undertone of this is. This isn't like really a nuanced take from this person. Most of this is dog whistling as much justification to consume drawn CP as possible. That's pretty much what this entire video is. They are a gooner to Lolly. Like that's what they do. They have a PFP as a Lolly. They've defended that type of behavior before. So when they're jumping on a conversation about basically porn that a lot of guys are like, yeah, I think it's okay to have some aggressive porn sometimes, which I agree with, and they're trying to Trojan horse in, well, what about these kids getting fucked anime style? That's what this person is doing. So that's what it is. It comes off as reasonable until you go, wait a minute, who drew this 8-year-old VTube picture? That's when it's like, oh, wait a minute, now we know what's actually happening. All right, so let's be clear what their intentions are.
They're working on is their own emotions. They have no actual...
I almost guarantee, and I hope I'm wrong, I almost guarantee Asmongold's going to fall for this.
...proof of anything. And looking at the standard about promoting discriminatory gender stereotypes, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is the kind of stuff they're talking about. This is one of her own posts from very recently. I mean, look at not only the...
I doubt it.
Character.
I doubt that they're... just to be clear, there's no way that she's talking about just piss on girls. There's no way. It's clear that this piece of media or this piece of whatever they're trying to attempt has more to do with explicit sexual violence than showing boobs. Like, nobody's like, oh, don't show boobs. It's about explicit sexual violence. So this person is just, Rev is just making things up. They're grasping at straws, hoping that people will eat this up.
That would probably fall under these United Nations standards here, but also that hashtags. It's got to put.
I doubt it.
Hashtag Gooner, hashtag Goon, hashtag Degen. Very interesting stuff. But let's talk about the UN for a second. So
let's talk about the UN.
I can't imagine bootlicking the United Nations. It couldn't be me. They are pretty much what is the equivalent of an international criminal organization. What else do you...
Just to be clear, when it comes to Japan, the UN has pressured Japan to engage in freedom of press. They have pressured Japan to engage in human rights, treating all people with the same human rights in Japan, okay? And they pressured them to not have an age of consent of 13. But they're a terrible... demon mafioso organization. There are always things to criticize when it comes to every institution, but let us not pretend. Let's stop pretending here that the UN is this demonic form in general, okay? It's ridiculous.
Describe them as. So even some of the top children's rights officials in the United Nations have been jailed for charges relating to the abuse of children. In fact,
well, that's really bad. I'm happy that they were jailed. I wonder if it's because they lived in a system that would jail people for sleeping with children.
In fact, there are endless articles you can find that are just so beyond disturbing.
Reports find that UN employees, 3,300 pedophiles, are respond for 60,000 rapes in the last 10 years. Wow, that's really bad. That's a really, really bad thing. 100%. I'm happy that they were jailed and they were caught for that. Absolutely. But saying that the entire UN is bad because there was like sexual violence inside from UN employees, which is a problem, is like saying that the church is bad because some kids get molested. I like, well, how far do we go with this argument? There's going to be bad people that are representations of any group. What do you want me to tell you? It's disgusting. It's degenerate. It's uncalled for. But like Japan's age of consent used to be 13. So like by that standard, I imagine that like this wouldn't even be considered some kind of it wouldn't be considered pedophilia. I mean, this is the problem. It's ridiculous. Thank you for the $5 from Jack Esposito. The age of consent in Japan is 13 federally, but most prefectures set it at 18 for U.S. service members. Dating underage is a common wide no-go. Well, that's good. Didn't they? They just raised it though. I'm pretty sure they raised their age of consent. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they just raised it to the age of consent. Or am I wrong? What's the age of consent in Japan? Yeah, in 2023 they raised it to 16. So that's good. We got to get higher. Unfortunately, America is only like most states are 16, which is gross. We got to get that number to at least 18, but...
Report finds UN employs 3,300 predators responsible for 60,000 R words in the last 10 years. Here's another one saying UN peacekeepers ran a child
I wonder what this is. I wonder how credible this is. Just only because this person is extraordinarily bad faith. Let me just look this up myself. Reports finds UN 3,300 pedophiles. Let's see. Or 60,000. I just want to see if I can find like the credibility of this argument. The Jerusalem Post. All right, we got that. I don't know how credible that is. Okay. Okay, the Independent. The scale of sex abuse at the hands of UN workers could be huge. The shocking fact is pedophiles target aid organizations. Okay. Let's see. Is that a credible one? I mean, I think it's probably the best. I don't know how bad. I don't think the Independent's bad. Okay. This week, the news has been dominated by allegations of sexual misconduct by Oxfam aid workers. It's been reported that workers representing the charity in a war-torn Haiti hired prostitutes who may have been underage and downloaded illegal material. Okay. So this isn't necessarily the UN. It's aid workers that were hired by like an independent party. What's Oxfam aid? Okay, when disaster strikes around the world, we move quickly with our partners to provide people with assistance they need to survive. Clean water. Okay, so it sounds like Oxfam is an organization that gets money to hire people locally in an area to help that particular area, and then people that they hire in some of these areas, like apparently Haiti, will use it and take advantage of it to molest children and engage in other sexual violence. That's a problem. That's more of a problem with the country than it is with the actual UN. The Department of International Defense call for answers. Okay, however, sexual misconduct of Oxfam workers is only the tip of the iceberg. Okay, when we look at the scandal that has engulfed the UN for decades, which is the first explored in these pages in March 2017. Okay, because I actually want to look into this and see what like the legitimate problem is. The UK's National Criminal Intelligence Services, which registers and monitors the activities of pedophiles, has warned as far back as 1999 that the scale of pedophiles in the international aid world is on a level with sex tourism. Interesting. This first may seem shocking, but when one realizes the good work of police forces to detect, prevent, and prosecute pedophiles in our own communities is gaining effectiveness, is perhaps predictable consequence that predatory, pedos, gotcha. The sad truth, then, is the easiest way for a pedo to gain access to children is in the developing world is to work with a children's charity. I guess that makes sense. What then are the aid agencies, particularly the United Nations, doing for training, prevention, detention, and prosecution of pedos in order to send a signal that the aid world is not an easy target? The sad truth is not enough, and it is time for the UK government, the UN, and NGO to make our view heard. Okay, so let's see. The United Secretary admits to 145 incidents involving. Okay. So looking through this article, what it seems to be here, which is a massive problem, it's not that the UN is doing this. It's that what ends up happening over the past like several decades, I'm assuming it's more than just 10 years. We've been finding out about this over the past 10 years because like we're getting more robust, ways of detecting this. But what seems to be happening is that the UN doesn't have an unlimited army. And so what they're doing is they're getting money and aid, and they're giving it to particular organizations to go to particular countries to enact aid for that country. And then when they go to those countries, they hire local people there to be able to help people. And then those locals will sometimes like take advantage of the laws and molest children and rape women. And that's horrible and that's disgusting. But let's not pretend that it is the UN engaging in this. Unfortunately, it is the countries, it is the predators in the country itself that are engaging in this behavior. Okay. And I think that distinction needs to be made. It just needs to be made. I mean, this person is unintelligently not making that distinction. And I think that they're doing it on purpose. Or they don't care. They just decided the UN is bad because they pressured the age of consent to be changed. I don't really understand it.
Here's another one saying UN peacekeepers ran a child S-ring in Haiti. And it goes on and on and on. Like, they are genuinely a very dangerous organization, and you have to rely on their word and what they're trying to do to justify banning anime and manga. Like, these people are not to be trusted whatsoever. But she continues on here.
And that's what the UN wants them to address, because it's actually scary being a woman in Japan. They literally have
it could be
specific train carriages that women can take to not share carriages with men during busy travel times so that they don't get sexually abused or touched inappropriately or have pictures of their upskirts taken.
This is like a real problem. It's to the point where I think I have to like look this up. I'm pretty sure Japan has a thing where when you take a picture, the flash has to go off or something. I forget what it was. It has to make a sound. Japan phones have to make sound when taking picture. I'm pretty sure this is a real thing. Yes, in Japan, phones are designed to automatically make a sound when taking a picture. And this is because dudes will go onto trains and they'll take pictures of women's upskirts and then I'll buy them. And then some people will buy them. It's crazy. No, it's a real problem. It's a legitimate problem. This is a real thing.
Just trying to get home from work or...
Yeah. So this pretty much is where it always ends up, right? So
yeah, I mean, they have a solid argument. What's your counter argument?
Oh, it begins with, I don't like this anime and manga, blah, 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 blah. And then it turns into just, well, I mean, what else do you call it? Racism.
How is it racism?
They're basically trying...
Dude, what a virtue signal. It's racism to say, like, hey, some countries have different issues than other countries. Japanese people are great. But there is a cultural problem over there when it comes to women. That's why they have fucking train cars that are for women only. Okay? That's why they have... you have to have your phone make a sound when pictures are taken. That's why they have vending machines that sell panties. That's why you can find lolly everywhere. It's not racism. What a virtue signal. This guy... This is the woke person. This is the woke loser going, oh, you criticize Japanese people? You're racist. It's the same thing as when like people make reasonable criticisms of different groups of people here and they get called a racist. It's just the same thing as when people are like, you know, I don't hate migrants that come over here, but some of them come over here and cause crimes and it's frustrating. And you're, oh, well, you're racist. This is the woke liberal. This is our lolly AOC over here, guys. He's gone completely woke. But okay, good stuff. I love it. We gotta love it. Incredible wokeness. Fucking ridiculous.
Trying to imply that the entire nation of Japan is so predatory that no...
You just tried to imply that all the people in Japan love jerking off to Lolicon. What the fuck you're talking about? If you have to have an implementation of a rule where everybody has to have their phone go off when there's a picture, and there are cars explicitly for women, it's probably a reaction to women getting abused. This is the coldest take of the century. We're cosplaying intelligence at this point.
Woman is safe in that country, and it's an absolutely...
She might be over-sensationalizing it, and that's fine, but this guy is unwilling to acknowledge the actual issues that are going on in Japan.
Outrageous
This guy went completely woke.
You say, yes, there are sex crimes in Japan, just like there are throughout the entire world. But
no, just to be clear, the sex crimes in Japan are worse than the crimes that are here. That's why they have fucking train cars that are women's only. Okay? There is a different view of women over there. That's it. That's why their age of consent was fucking 13 until 2003. Right? And it's good that they're changing and they're getting better. It's great. I love Japanese people. Thank you for the sushi. Domo arigato. Okay? But this guy's defending Lolicon at all costs.
But it doesn't make Japan unique in any sort of a way. And the only
It's not unique. Japan is unique in the way where it's being monitored to a higher extent and being held to a higher standard because they do massive financial trade with America. That's why. If you want to trade with our country, you got to get your shit together. We slowly have pressured them into creating a better, not good, but better age of consent. There's nothing wrong with that. Who fucking cares? I'm your fucking daddy. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Okay? You want to trade with America, the richest, most powerful, best country in the entire world that ever was, ever is, and ever will be, then you need to slowly get your shit together. And that means that you have to raise your age of consent. What do you want me to tell you? What kind of a fucking pussy are you?
The vacation this person has is because they produce anime and manga, which that somehow makes them special. I mean, of course...
it has nothing to do with anime and manga. It has to do with Lolicon porn.
Reported sex crimes are sometimes a misleading number because people just don't report that they're victimized.
Yes, but also we're going to have more robust statistics in a Western country, so that might seem like there are higher numbers happening in Western countries because we actually report our statistics. And every fucking conservative knows that this is true because when COVID hit, we know where it started, and there were underreported numbers. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. We know that it's true.
Well, this person's from Ireland, trying to be a white savior and wagging their finger at Japan.
I don't know how they're being a white savior in this instance. They look like the type that would be, just to be clear, but they aren't from what you showed us.
Look at the rates at Ireland versus Japan. Again, reports aren't the most reliable thing, but I think...
This doesn't... okay. I need to take a look at this. Report rates are obviously important. I just want to see something. Okay, so just to be clear, Ireland looks like it has a problem. Ireland, I want to be absolutely real with you, Ireland. I would say the more of an issue, like Israel's a higher issue. Ireland isn't exactly one of like the top tier Western countries, and they should be pressured as well. Japan, my understanding, much more influential, and we're going to obviously push on them as well. It looks like Ireland has an issue with sexual crimes. This seems like an absolute an issue. Part of that could be the way that they report statistics. I don't know how high or low what their understanding is, or how high or low their threshold is for some kind of sexual violence. But Japan's number 3. That's pretty intense. The fact that Ireland and Israel are even as high as they are is disgusting as well. Same thing with Jamaica. But you'd expect Ireland and Israel to be held to a higher standard because they are a more Western-influenced country, and those are a problem. But that doesn't take away from Japan and like whatever problem that they have as well. Right? Is this even in order? What is this? This is reported rapes. This isn't even sexual violence. Hold on. Reported rapes by country. This is even listed in number. Is this even isn't even listed in like order? I'm trying to understand what we're looking at here. I don't see how this takes away from how does this take away from anything happening in Japan? What is this? Hold on a second. The table indicates the annual number of record. I'm looking at this as if he has it in order, but he doesn't. That's what I'm like, oh, Japan is like top 3. It's not. Or top 4. It's not. I don't even know how this is. I have to look at this up myself. I have to look up every little thing that he has. Statistics on rape and other acts of sexual assault are commonly available in industrial countries and have become better documented through the world. Inconsistent definitions of rape, different rates of reporting, recording, prosecution, and conviction for it create controversial statistics. So it can be in disparities that lead to accusations. Okay, so it can be difficult. Excuse me. It can be difficult to specifically come up with these actual numbers because different countries are going to have different standards. You'd expect a country like America or England or Iceland to have a more well-defined definition of rape that is, or some kind of sexual violence than someplace like Pakistan or something. I don't know, right? Like in some countries, like, and this is how we know. There are countries where it is okay. There are countries where it's okay to rape your spouse. So you wouldn't call that rape in that country, but you can't force your spouse to have sex with you. There are a lot of countries where it's okay to do that, right? So you wouldn't count that as sexual assault because it's so normalized and ingrained in culture that it's okay to abuse women that they don't have the same rights for women. And so in those countries, you wouldn't report that as a sexual assault, even though that is a sexual assault. So the comparisons on these things are so difficult between the West actually having robust statistics, having better definitions of what sexual assault is, their reportings are better. You're never going to get an accurate answer. I don't know how good Japan's is. But generally speaking, it's hard to come up with these statistics. So I don't know how much we could do with reported annual rapes. That doesn't take into account the way that they report. It doesn't take into account other forms of sexual violence. This definition isn't broadly set in every country. It's just like impossible to come up with the perfect statistic for these countries. So Ireland seems to have a problem too. That's not good, Ireland. You know, that's not a good thing. But okay.
Maybe, just maybe, you should sit this conversation out. Let's wrap this up here.
Why? Hold on. What is up with this guy? This guy's fucking hilarious, because before he's like, oh, so you're saying because there's an issue in Japan of women getting molested on trains, so they separate the cars? So you're saying all Japanese are rapists. And now you're like, see, look, there's an issue with sexual violence in Ireland. You must be a rapist. This guy is a fucking idiot. If I allowed myself to use slurs right now, I would be using them, because this person doesn't have any level of intelligence or moral consistency on anything that they're saying. Like, it makes no sense. And if you really look at it, they were just comfortable being a racist to white people. That's just to be clear. They're racist to white people, guys. Okay, that's the biggest problem there. But okay.
One more quote.
I pray to God that Asmongold does not fall for this guy's fucking video. I pray that he's not that stupid. I really do.
Guys to listen to.
And I think if you're a real person with a real conscience and your heart goes out to the women of Japan who have to put up with these men, then...
I'll tell you one thing. My heart may not go out to those women, but my money does for the Japanese. For the Japanese OnlyFans. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding, guys. I look at the leaks, okay?
You should be on the side of UN for them to be more censored and not allow for this to happen.
Okay.
No words, ladies and gentlemen. You have
I don't see what the problem is with what she's saying. She comes off a little preachy, but who gives a shit?
To take the side of the UN here and ban this anime and manga. Otherwise, you just don't care.
It's not about banning anime and manga. It's about restricting women's abuse and drawn CP. This guy just completely Trojan horsed this entire thing. This guy's a creep.
About women. I guess that's the route we're going with this one. This is insane. Also, I think her mind would explode if she found out that a very large portion of hentai artists are women. So, like, what are we...
She obviously has no issue with hentai.
It's all just men. This went from, I don't like anime and manga, to there's a big predatory problem in Japan.
None of this is accurate. This is like, hey, Lolly's bad. The whole thing is lolly and abusing women is bad, but porn isn't that necessarily. That's literally it. It's the most rational thing. Why did they take their video down?
And also, Japanese men are somehow uniquely dangerous.
The Japanese men are not uniquely dangerous. In general, men are the ones that are committing like sexual crimes and whatnot more than women. Women still do commit them. Let's not take away from that, or any victims that might be a man. But it's not really the men as much as it's the countries that allow men to engage in this behavior. I come from a worldview that men have the ability and the power to move the world, and a motivation that in many instances women don't have. Women can have it, but men seem to have it at a higher chance. But I would say that generally, and this isn't my experience, men with power will sometimes abuse it. All right? It takes a good woman to keep a man in check. That's my personal philosophy. So when you have a country that lets men who are generally physically more powerful and have more access to the power in the country, when you give them unlimited power, they're going to abuse it. It's not unique. It's not Japanese male unique. Men just need to get their shit together sometimes, right? That's it. So there needs to be more robust laws that protect different groups of people. And then there needs to be good men, which is, I would say, the majority of men in societies, good men to enforce those laws. So you're just making shit up. You're making things up. You're just making things up.
I mean, that's how far it went.
No,
all you had to do was say, I don't like these things in certain anime and manga. I'm just going to avoid them. But
these things are drawn child porn. Just to be clear, this guy is dog whistling the defense of drawn child porn.
No, it goes to this level, and it always does for some reason. But that's going to do it for this video. I thought this was pretty insane, so I want...
This video was nothing. There's nothing wrong with her video. Why? The fact that she took it down makes her a fucking coward. I don't know what to tell you.
To talk about this with you guys. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Okay. I really hope that Asmongold doesn't fall for this video. I'm going to watch Asmongold's reaction to it. I really hope he doesn't fall for this.
Somebody made a negative video about me. I figured I'd watch this shit.
We don't even get to see any of her criticisms of Asmongold from what we see in Dev's video. So, oh, dude, I really hope that this stupid motherfucker doesn't fall for it.
Asmongold hit piece backfired horribly. Uh-oh.
Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here. So today we're gonna be talking about a video.
Dude, he's just gonna watch the the video from this girl. That's not even a problem.
That's making the rounds on social media for all the wrong reasons. It comes from a channel titled Catastrophic Claire Rar. Yes, very Rar XD, Quirk Chungus, Hot Topic, etc., etc. But the video people are talking about is her latest one titled Japan Wants to Censor Anime Asmongold Reaction. Now, in this video, not only does
it's about me.
Call out
it's barely about you from what he showed.
But she also calls out the entire anime and manga industry, as well as Japanese society, which according to her is so predatory and dangerous, pretty much no woman is safe in Japan. Now let's...
Oh no.
Damn. That's a lot. Oh, do y'all think she's ever been to Japan?
Don't you think your first reaction should be, oh, let's wait for the proof?
Start with the thumbnail itself.
Great. Cool stuff.
It is pretty heinous. It is implying very heavily that Asmongold is trying to protect predators. Now, what justifies in her mind this slander? Well, it comes from a clip from a recent Asmongold video where he's talking about censorship of anime and manga.
It's about going in favor of free expression and free speech without having an unelected cabal of companies acting as a cartel that are behaving as censors for that speech and expression.
Like, it's just so sad that people are saying this and it's just going...
She talks like a VTuber.
...unchecked, and I just...
You're watching a VTuber. Okay.
Wanted to say my piece on it.
So here's what I think is funny about this. Number one, this is like seeing a dodo bird. It's like seeing a like a white rhinoceros, like a megalodon or something like that. Because I thought these went extinct.
What?
I didn't know we still had these around. Yeah, I thought Scene Girls have been gone for like 10 years now.
Okay.
It's still, yeah, this is like an endangered species. I almost don't even want to be mean to her because there's so few of them left.
I just want to be clear. You're reacting to the picture of a child and a content creator who jacks off to Lolicon, and you're reserving your criticism only for the weird scene girl. Couldn't be me. I don't know. Maybe criticize both of them, or maybe the one that's very clearly worse. Okay, cool stuff, man. Gotta love Asmongold.
It's just funny for me to see it.
So basically, what Asmongold is saying is that groups like the United Nations or payment...
Thank you for the $2 from Brandon Cavallero. Thank you, brother.
...processors like Visa or MasterCard should have no say in the production of anime.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with the fucking, like... this is the thing, right? Is like, this is what some people do. They get caught up in the optics of the conversation in a specific way without understanding what the conversation's about.
Yeah. Wow.
I was talking about companies behaving as cartels and violating antitrust laws. And then she's the one that...
I'll say that, like... In general, I didn't necessarily disagree with it. All I said was I think it's okay for a company that has money to not back something that they don't want to because it's their money. Depends on the way that they're doing it. That's fine. Most of the video has nothing to do with Asmongold.
Extrapolates this to me talking about anime specifically. It's not specifically about anime. That's not the point. The point is that it's a bad thing to do on a fundamental level. Anime is just an example. They can't even think about the idea without... It's off topic. Yeah, it's totally off topic.
Manga in Japan. And hot take, he's correct. These organizations have really no sense being involved with these things. It's way beyond their reach. They shouldn't be controlling what's going on in the anime and manga industries. And anyone who disagrees with that has to basically bootleg.
It's not that they can't control it. It's that they can't collectively work to control it in a unilateral way. That's totally I feel like a lot of people just don't understand what the problem is. They don't get it. They shouldn't control any industry. Yeah, you should not have payment processors that can control an entire industry. It's not good for an economy. It's that simple.
United Nations.
My bias is showing. What's my bias here?
Guys, yo, like, what are you doing, bro? Like,
oh, I forgot. People come into the video late and they don't realize what I said. We went on a whole entire rant about how MasterCard basically has a monopoly on like Walmart, which is a huge problem, but it's a separate problem to them saying, hey, we don't want to financially back Lolicon child porn. Okay.
Man, bro, like, what do you do this shit for?
Thank you for $2 from Brandon again. How long did it take me to grow my beard? I have no idea. I just grow it. A couple of years, I guess. I don't even know the last time I cut it.
What do you think is going to happen? Just why you do this? You know you're going to get banned for this. Like, can you tell me that, like, you know that you were going to get banned for this? What is wrong with you, bro? Like,
what?
Like, you know I have to ban you, right? You cannot go and tell people that they have to kill themselves. Like, you can't do it. Even if you think it's true, you can't do it.
Why would you highlight that comment for your stream? You know, I'm not even going to get into what that probably was. Let's just move on.
How do you not get that, man?
Okay.
Well, my bad. True. Anyway, let's see here. Yeah, y'all gotta dial this shit down. Like, that's some weird shit. You can't do that.
Okay.
Stop.
Cool. Which we'll talk about them later in the video.
I agree. I don't think it's a good idea to promote that person by showing it on the screen. But Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. So I don't care about
they are a terrible organization that has been going after Japan for decades now, trying to demonize and categorize a lot of fictional content as illegal, as she will do in her own video. So let's let her...
He's defending Lolicon, Asmongold.
Continue on. This is actually from...
The UN doesn't want to censor normal anime. They want to censor child pornography and the exploitation of women, which is fair. Okay.
Clips she posted herself on Twitter, but let's give it a listen.
But
see what we got here.
The UN, I wasn't talking about the UN. I was talking about credit processing companies.
Well, he's talking about the UN. You're reacting to a video where he's talking about how bad the UN is. You don't have anything to say about that?
Had nothing to do with the UN.
That had what is Asmongold talking about? What? What the fuck is this guy? What is happening?
2024. It's still legal to own anime and manga child pornography. And let me tell you, it is a booming industry.
I would have never guessed. Wow, are you telling me the creepy, weird shit that people have done for the entire history of people is still creepy and weird and people do it? What a shock. What?
So, as always, I think there's something very disturbing.
That's your biggest criticism? Hey, people are owning drawn CP, and your criticism is to be like, well, that just has always happened. Okay. Why is this your take? I don't even understand. I don't understand why that's your take. Why is your take to be like, that's just always happened, who cares? I don't understand. Why will you put the big boy gloves on when it comes to calling out credit cards and their pseudo monopolies that they run, especially like at big businesses where they give them massive discounts while they fuck small businesses? But when it comes to people owning CP material, drawn or otherwise, you're like, well, that's just always kind of happened. Well, the elites have always controlled the world, so like, why aren't you brushing that off? I don't understand. Like, this guy's a cuck. What? What are you talking about? What a fucking loser. Okay.
About likening real-life victimization to manga panels, but as always, if you don't like certain aspects of anime or manga or just fictional content generally...
So, this girl needs to understand... And I saying something like this is kind of hard to say because a lot of people can take it in the wrong way. But the reason why it's legal to own a cartoon of something like that versus something that's real is that owning something of it that's real, like actual, like, you know, child sexual abuse material, the reason why it's bad is because if you own things that are real, there is a victim to that thing. And it creates a feedback loop and a reward structure around having that content and then paying for it and then the popularization of that content.
Okay, so the reality is that this is a justification for Lolicon. Okay. Listen, here's the thing. It's not as bad. That's crazy. It's not as bad as an actual child. We know that because a child isn't getting exploited. I mean, unless you're drawing a legitimate child, but even then, you're not putting them in the same situation. But the consumption of this content is still wrong. It is still a depiction of a kid. Again, it's not as bad. It's still a depiction of the kid. And it allows you to lean into inappropriate thoughts and feelings and perspectives. You shouldn't be doing it. That's not the way that you engage with this type of stuff. Okay? I think that the slippery slope argument could potentially be an argument to use here. Like, where does it stop? I don't know. I think it's okay to say, like, hey, this is wrong and this is gross. But... okay, I guess Asmongold's take is that, like, it's okay. I don't understand. All right.
That's the reason why owning it is illegal. It's because owning it is effectively a feedback loop for more of it to be created. And more of it being created means more people being victimized.
Okay.
With a cartoon or a drawing, that dynamic doesn't exist. It allows for demand. Okay. It does. Don't you think it's a gateway into the real thing? I'm not a fan of lolly stuff. I think it's really weird.
Okay.
Anytime that I see it in an anime, I don't like it.
We're not talking about anime, Asmongold. We're talking about porn.
That's simple. Yeah, I'm not a fan. It's off-putting? Sure. That wasn't a question. Yeah, but that's not the point.
Oh, I mean, okay.
I was just explaining the difference between the two things.
This is just weak. I think that Asmongold is just a weak... He's just weak. I don't understand. He's just fucking pathetic. I mean, it's not like it's the coldest take to be like, yeah, you know what? This stuff isn't appropriate. You shouldn't be allowing drawn CP. But apparently that's a hot take for Asmongold. But okay.
And to say it's a gateway, I don't know. Here's the way I see it. And I don't want to go too far into this because it's like such a really like polarized discussion.
This is the entire topic of conversation. You can't just say, I don't want to get into this.
Is that I don't think it's the same. But I do think that if I knew somebody who was into lolly stuff, was into it, I wouldn't want them being a babysitter for my young kids.
Okay, so then you think that you think that somebody engages with that stuff is a threat to children. So why can't you be more explicit about that and condemn it instead of saying that you think it should exist? Because that's what you're saying with this take. You're reacting to somebody who likes to goon to lolly while criticizing the scene girl for having LOL silly hair that he's reacting to. I don't get it.
I'll tell you that.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to.
Cool. Thanks for that.
And I feel like that's a true, right? It's a true. And the reason why is because
it's the coldest take anybody's ever given. But okay.
Because we all know.
So then say that Lolicon is bad instead of just saying it's weird and you don't like it.
It's understandable, right? I'm not saying they should be in jail, but I do think it's weird. For sure.
Okay.
Anyway, let's see. We're gonna keep going.
That's okay. That's your prerogative. You're allowed to not like things, but it doesn't justify you demonizing and attacking an entire nation of people as well as the related mediums.
Yeah, I learned that myself.
And on top of that, if you're going to create the standard for other people where, in the video she says, if a character's under 18 and sexualized, that's CP. Well, that standard's not going to just be applied to the people you're attacking. It's also going to be applied to yourself. And if you look through her Twitter account, I mean, you have characters like this from Sailor Moon. This character's 16 years old. She made AI-generated art with obviously...
Wow. Wow. Okay. Whoa, well... Oh, but that's different.
Yeah, this guy jerks off to naked pictures of this thing, Asmon. Of this actual girl character. This person jerks off to this girl naked is different from this character. Okay? The consistent argument is like always the body isn't as important as like what the character, or excuse me, the age isn't as important as what the actual character looks like. This looks like they could be 25. If you jerk off to this, you're not a predator. This looks like it's 8. If you jerk off to this, you're a fucking disgusting degenerate, maybe predator. The fact that you pretend to see a hypocrisy in here, it's, dude, Asmongold's so fucking pathetic. Like, this is so annoying. This guy really spiraled after his conversation with Hassan. Right after that happened, he went like full fucking degenerate idiot mode. I remember watching his video after he made those comments. He's like, you know, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to dial back and like reflect. And I was like, wow, I respect this guy so much. But ever since then, he's just been spiraling into oblivion. It's just a complete spiral of just gargling as much like fucking right-leaning cum as he possibly can. It's fucking insane. And I just want to be absolutely clear because I'm more progressive. I have never in my entire life said something like this about like Ben Shapiro, who's an actual conservative. I consistently go, I like Ben Shapiro. I disagree with a lot of what he says, but I like the way he talks, the way he communicates. I like that he's a very family-oriented man. I like that he's a decent person. But Asmongold is just a cum-guzzling bitch. Like, this is fucking conservative fucking Twitter cum-guzzling over here. Like, that's all it is. This guy's a fucking loser. Like, I don't understand. This is fucking pathetic. He's just so fucking pathetic. I don't get it. I mean, whatever. It's fucking crazy to me.
Some sexual aspects to it with the hashtag.
Do you like AI art?
And she would do that again, same character with
waifu thighs save lives.
Posting this that she created with AI as well. That would make her a hypocrite under her own standards. On top of that, she's a big Evangelion fan.
Well, it's not even a hypocrite, right? I mean, it'd make her a creep. I mean,
no.
Because she's acting like these people are like legit.
Asmongold came into this video deciding to agree with the person who actually jerks off to Lolicon and disagree with the girl with scene hair, saying, "Hey, you probably shouldn't do that." I guess that's just because his Twitter audience is okay with that. I don't really understand why that's your take. But that's impressive stuff. Okay. Everything is just going to be that. He's not even falling for anything. He's just so warped into what's safe. I hate content creators like Asmongold, who they go, what's safe for my community? And then he pushes out whatever he feels like is going to be safely regurgitated for his community. That's it. And anytime he has a disagreeable opinion, it's a nothing burger. And then he gets to virtue signal and go, see, I have disagreeable takes sometimes. No, he doesn't. This is what this is. And it's weird that your audience responds well to this type of shit. It's actually pathetic.
Legitimate creeps and bad people.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you're doing the same thing.
No, they're not. You're so fucking dumb, Asmongold.
If you've watched the anime, you know there's a lot of fan service featuring
it.
Underage characters, so clearly she either didn't watch this or...
She doesn't have an issue with underage characters being in anime. She has an issue with underage children being drawn and jerked off to. I mean, it's like the distinction is fucking insane.
She's just a massive hypocrite.
No, she's
not.
And
of course, you know, because I always check this.
Why did she remove her video? I fucking hate that. Probably from the backlash. She didn't say anything wrong. She should put it back up and say fuck you to all these people. They're pathetic. They're fucking losers.
Whoever.
Why do girls, bro? Why is it? Why are people not enough?
What?
Why? I don't get it, guys.
Okay. This is fucking insane.
Put this in. Absolute real one. The voice is Hugh Jackman, by the way. And he plays the Easter Bunny.
Cool stuff.
Oh, he's so great. I love his voice in this movie. I love his character in this movie. He's such like a hard ass rabbit. And you don't see it a lot, so yes, definitely smash.
Ding ding ding, she's a furry too. Yeah, pretty much anytime you see some...
This is the person that's calling you a creep. Your idea of something that's...
Asmongold, you're reacting to somebody who jerks off to fucking drawn child porn on the right. You haven't said a single word about how that's about that, but you're going in on the person who wants to fucking goon to an adult bunny. Where are your fucking priorities? Everyone's cringe, but there's probably someone who's a little more cringe, and it's the 8-year-old VTube character on the 30-something-year-old man who consistently justifies Lolicon CP. You don't think that that's like, you don't think that that's weird, bud? Have you sat here and the first fucking comment you made about her was that she's a weird scene girl. This is a grown man with a fucking 8-year-old PFP. How the fuck you didn't even say a word about it? What are you doing? How do you exist? How do you call her cringe and then you don't even say a fucking word about this? This person fantasized and paid somebody to fucking draw this, probably naked as well, offline. How the fuck? How do you put these together? You are fucking insane. I'll take a fucking autistic furry over whatever the fuck this is every single day of the week. What is this? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is what is fucking happening? Where did Asmongold turn into a fucking moron? I don't understand what happened. How did this go? How did we get here? How the fuck did we get here? This is insane. Holy fuck. Furries are more cringe than fucking Lolicon enjoyers. Public Lolicon enjoyers. Let's be real. We're not even at the private part here. Public Lolicon enjoyers. That's insane. This is fucking insane to me. Oh my god, dude. I hate Asmongold at this point. That's where I'm at. That's just where we're at. What a fucking pathetic. How fucking pathetic. Like what the fuck? Okay, cool. This is fucking wild. All right. Cool beans.
You know, like you're being called a creep because you like a conventionally attracted female, and the person calling you a creep is attracted to a rabbit.
Okay. He's intentionally missing the point of this whole entire thing.
Okay. Okay.
Incredible.
Sure.
Someone talking about anime and manga and trying to demonize it, they almost always consume the exact same content themselves, and on top of that, they're a furry.
No, that's just not what's happening.
Pretty much happens every single time. But let's continue on with her clip here.
You can literally go nearly to any mass.
Thank you for the $2 from Jordan Abel. This is the man who can't clean his own house. Yeah, true. This is a guy who wipes his fucking bloody teeth on the walls. Okay.
Manga stores and areas in the major cities in Japan, and you will find areas of that manga store that is specifically for Lolita characters.
Okay.
So this is a very simple point, but it's definitely always worth.
Okay. 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 That's it. Okay. Scene girl cringe, finding drawn CP. Okay. Well, I think it's weird, but it shouldn't be illegal. It doesn't even sound like you think it's very weird, Asmongold. Sounds like you're pretty cool with it. I don't understand.
Making, if she considers this stuff in the background to be CP, by her own standard, she downloaded it, probably uncensored.
Oh, good point. Good point, guy who fucking violently jerks his dick off to children porn, to animated drawn child porn,
and then posted it for thousands of.
He got him, dude. This is what he does to his fucking dick when he reads that shit. But you're gonna fucking support this fucking take because she decided to download it, censor it, and go, "This is gross." How the fuck are you? My mind is exploding. My mind is exploding almost as much as this fucking 8-year-old VTube character that a 40-year-old paid for. So dick explodes when jerking off to Lolicon. How do we do this? How do we get here? What the fuck? I'm fucking mind blown right now. I think I have to increase my blood pressure medication.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. It's just like expose yourself. Yes.
Dude, Asmongold's worthless. Holy fuck. Thank you for the 24-month medium gut for Mason. Anyway, in good news, I graduate from university in 2 weeks. That's awesome news, brother. Fantastic news. Fantastic.
Oh my god. Good point. Yes. And see, people don't like. And the reason why you bring something like this up is the fact that it just proves that it was all bullshit to begin with. Because you don't really think this.
What?
You're just saying it.
Okay.
People to see online.
All right.
By her own standard, she just downloaded and then redistributed CP.
Okay. Sure. Incredible. There we go, guys. Rabbits only live 8 to 12 years. How old is that bunny she likes? I don't know if you guys know what anthropomorphism is. I think I'm using the right word. It's an adult that happens to be a bunny. Again, we all know that her potentially gooning to a fucking human bunny rabbit. She's not actually fingering herself while, fucking herself with a carrot and making an actual bunny eat it. She's like, oh, haha, what an attractive anthropomorphic bunny. That's different from, again, 8-year-old drawn child porn. Yes, Asmongold is just emoting at this. Yeah, you're 100% correct. Okay.
Like, are you crazy in your mind or something? Like, why would you ever think this is okay while you're demonizing it at the same time? It just shows how stupid.
Well, and it shows that it's not real. She don't really think this. She don't really think this. She's just saying this.
You got it, bud.
All these arguments are how hypocritical all these people are.
And Lolita, if you don't know what that means, it means
it's Jeffrey Epstein's jet. I know what that is.
Girl. And
it literally just means like cute fashion, by the way.
This is the problem that the UN wants them to address. Honestly.
No response. Asmongold won't even do the bare minimum thing of being like, this guy just tried to say Lolicon is just cute fashion. You really think that, Asmongold? No commentary on that? A whole meltdown because she's a weird furry, but no commentary on this guy reframing what lolly is. We know what it is, but no commentary on that. You're not going to do your emote and sit there and pretend to laugh on that take. You're just going to ignore that take. Who do you want in your audience? Who is it that you're saying, hey guys, it's comfortable for hang out? Who are you telling that to? Why are you a fucking coward? Why are you you're such I don't understand how you get to be such a fucking coward where you can't even like go in on somebody who's a casual lolly enjoyer. That is fucking impressive. Okay.
I don't care if the character is over 18. If the character is over 18, I'm just going to be like, cool, yeah, whatever you're into, man. If you want to look at that, that's cool. But not children.
Okay.
That is
okay.
So
oh my god. This guy's energy is like explosive for everything else.
So she's trying to basically mask what the UN is doing. She's saying this is all about protecting kids and it's only targeting these specific types of characters she's talking about.
All he says is okay. He won't save any commentary. He doesn't give any commentary that is like charitable or favorable to her when she makes obvious like cold takes. But she goes off on a meltdown anytime this fucking moron CP lover, drawn CP lover, makes a point.
But that's a gross misrepresentation.
And he's going to go into some like insane conspiracy theory once he gets to the UN shit, and he's not going to say like a singular fucking word at all. He's not going to like have a singular word to say or look up like what's actually going on in the actual problems in the UN.
What they're trying to do at the UN. So
and I want to keep in mind, I never discussed this.
What?
This doesn't even have anything to do with me.
What?
I never talked about the UN. I wasn't complaining about the UN. I was talking about credit processing companies, which is a completely separate point that doesn't have anything to do with this.
Oh, so that's the way that he disengages. So the Asmongold doesn't care about any of these points because that's not what he said in the first place. So he doesn't feel the need to say like, hey guys, maybe this stuff's kind of gross. Like, okay.
but people acting like it's all me.
This video.
Everything relates to people. Everybody's always thinking about me.
Okay.
Here's what they're actually doing. They've been targeting Japan for many, many years, and they can't really explain why they're singling out Japan in the first place. But anyways, this is what they're talking about with some of these pushes that the United Nations are doing. The final observation expressed concern that pornography, video games, manga, and other animated products may promote gender and sexual orientation-based violence against women and girls, and recommended that existing legal measures and monitoring programs be effectively implemented to address the production and distribution of pornography.
You see, in no point here is the issue of characters that appear underage. It's not even stated.
What?
It had nothing to do with it.
As part of it? I don't know if you guys... it's part of it. I don't... Okay. A part of it would be Lolicon. And then part of it is media that supposedly glorifies the abuse of women. Again, I think it's reasonable to say, hey, how does this stop and start? Like, how can this potentially be abused? We don't want to implement anything that will be too restrictive. That's a fine take to have. But what are you talking about?
Pornography, video games, and animated products that promote discriminatory gender stereotypes and reinforce sexual violence against women and girls. So it's not just these specific young...
If you think anime causes violence towards women, you're retarded? Yeah. That's why they think anime causes violence towards women. That's the whole...
They're not saying anime causes violence towards women. They're saying that some aspects of anime might cause violence towards women by normalizing sexual abuse against women. It's not all anime. It's not every anime. It's not even the majority of anime. It is just them saying, like, hey, let's take a look. This is the problem. Here's the problem. I don't know the 100% of what they're necessarily trying to target, and I can admit that. I'm not going to say it's all anime, because it's probably not. Okay, but Asmongold's like, oh yeah, see, all these people hate all anime. They think all anime rapes women. That's not what it's about, and you know that. And like, you're just being stupid on purpose because your audience doesn't care. Your audience is fucking stupid. And they don't give a shit about anything. You're a 30-something-year-old child. You're unmarried. You have absolutely no responsibility. You're rich. Like, there's nothing going on in your life that makes you a normal, relatable human being. You are a child that has an audience of children that reinforce your dumb fucking behaviors over and over and over and over again. And then you sit here and you just make videos that make you as much money as possible without having any like positive impact. You're a child. You're a coward. You cower to your fucking audience. He's not saying that either. What are you talking about? He just said that.
Whole point. Yeah, exactly.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
Characters.
He just said that. Are you what?
If you think anime causes violence towards women, you're retarded. Yeah. That's why they think anime causes violence towards women.
He just said that's why they think anime causes violence towards women. He's saying explicitly he's including all anime. It's not all anime. Some anime probably has a negative interpretation and view of women that they seem to want to control. Now that could get out of hand, which could be a problem. Absolutely. But he's not being nuanced here. He's like, yep, they think all anime is bad for women because they hate you anime nerds. Because you're the most oppressed class or something. I don't really understand. That's what he's saying.
That's the whole point. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Character she's talking about.
Nobody thinks all anime does this. Nobody has a word to say about like Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z at all. Although Master Roshi was fucking weird for hitting on Bulma. So I do have something to say about that. That's kind of weird. Good thing that's kind of ended. So that's good. But nobody's saying it's all anime. I would just like to know where the line is drawn.
It's anything that promotes discriminatory gender stereotypes, whatever the hell that means, and without any sort of...
Whatever the hell that means. It means if you create an anime where a woman is raped and the tone is, that's a good thing. Hot take, huh?
Research or basis to make these claims. They say that these things in fictional content are somehow leading to real-life abuse. These people are basically just a repackaging of 90s soccer moms who used to say violent video games make violent people, right? It's the same argument. It's just so woke, it's backwards. And now we're having people trying to justify these connections between anime.
I don't think it's a hot take to say that media that glorifies a particular thing could cause people to feel like that particular thing is okay. That's what I think, okay? When you have pornography that glorifies, or a media that glorifies the degradation of women, that could lead people to actually dislike women. If you have a video game that does the same thing, they could probably do the same thing. Now, I don't think that Grand Theft Auto necessarily glorifies humans. I don't think it tries to propose a super realistic world where it's like, this is okay to kill as many people as possible. I think it really is a video game, and there's a level of disconnect from like the real world, okay? I remember there was some edgy video game that like legitimately glorified murdering people. It was just like an edgy, weird loser game. I don't remember the specifics. That one is different. But like Grand Theft Auto is really just like a sandbox where you go and you kill people and you kind of engage in a fantasy. That's how I look at it. I don't think that there's like this deep level of attachment. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I think that there's probably a difference between that and some potential deep-seated justification of like molesting children or something. They're two different things. Like there's a whole philosophical conversation that you'd have to have when it comes down to these things. Again, do I think that they should ban it? I don't know. I don't know how far this goes. But just saying like, nope, none of this is real. It's weird because Asmongold has the audience that it's like, yeah, you know, porn is not good for people's mental health. What is one of the reasons why porn is not good for a young man's mental health? Because it proposes an incorrect view of how to engage with women and people in society. And it's addictive. Like, how you can't hold both of these perspectives at the same time. I don't understand it.
Anime, manga, and what have you to predatory behavior, and the only thing they're working on is their own emotions. They have no actual proof of anything.
He's totally right. There's no thinking involved with this. There's no logical deduction. There's no critical thought involved.
Asmongold, you're just fucking meme facing everything. What are you talking about?
At this at all. So, like, if you think that this is bad, then you could clearly look at people that are watching anime and see how often they're abusive, etc. They did.
I don't watch any anime that's like often abusive. I don't watch a lot of anime. I can tell you what I watch. I watched Dragon Ball Z, My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball Super, which is mid, Dragon Ball. They say Inuyasha. I've watched Berserk, which has abuse in it, but the tonality isn't that it's good. That's where I would be like, we have to preserve this type of media, right? We have to preserve the type of media of Berserk, but I've never watched an anime that's like, yeah, it's cool to rape women. I've never watched that. I don't know what they're exactly referring to, but there's also a different culture over there. And if they have entire bookstores with fucking Lolicon aspects in them, clearly there's a fucking problem, because you should be embarrassed to even consume that in the first place. Okay? So I just find it I don't understand. Thank you for the 6-month small gut from Jack. I can't pronounce your last name. Start playing old school RuneScape. I don't think I could get into that now, brother.
To rock music too? Yeah. This is the new brand of the Satanic Panic. It is. This is just a new version of it, and they're.
So just to be clear, what Asmongold is saying is a new brand of Satanic Panic is that saying Lolicon is bad. That's what's happening here. I just want you guys to understand that. He's trying to hide it as much as possible, but that is what this entire person's on the right, this whole point is here. Okay.
They're trying to protect you from yourself, and they're doing it for your own good.
Okay. And looking at the standard about promoting discriminatory gender stereotypes, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is the kind of stuff they're talking about. This is one of her own posts from
First TCG.
Very recently.
That's not what she's talking about.
Woo girls.
Look at not only the character that would probably fall under these
hashtag goon. That's not even a good hashtag. Who posts that? It's not even a good one.
Nation standards here, but also
that's very clearly not her point. If you watch this person's video, Asmongold is just being stupid.
Hashtags. Just got to point out hashtag gooner, hashtag goon, hashtag degen. Very interesting stuff. But let's talk about the UN for a second. So I can't imagine bootlicking the United Nations. It couldn't be.
Oh god, here's Asmongold. Oh god, see, they all love raping children. That's what his intelligent analysis is going to be.
Yeah.
They are pretty much.
Sit this one down. 2004 Hot Topic employee. Oh god.
What's so funny about that?
Yeah, there you go.
I don't understand I don't understand why you think it's so funny.
It is what it is.
It's the equivalent of an international criminal organization. What else do you describe them as? So even some of the top children's rights officials in the United Nations have been jailed for charges relating to the abuse of children. In fact,
some of the top? What are you talking about?
There are endless articles you can find that are just
at the top as well.
So beyond disturbing. Report finds UN employs 3,300 predators responsible for 60,000.
Yeah, are you going to look into this topic at all, Asmongold?
Words in the last 10 years. Here's another one saying UN peacekeepers ran a child.
Somebody mad in chat. Just a second. I'm being dishonest about this. I'm being ignorant about it. You're mad. What is this?
Well, of course he is, but you can't respond. Like, you can't like say something in Asmongold's chat because all of his chat is sitting there like with Asmongold on the left side and then like a literal child on the right side, like a drawn child jerking off to it.
I'll pull it up real quick. She's right. First, you laugh at the girl. You're being dishonest. 60% revenue made by manga comes directly from works that depict of women and children. Where'd you get that number from? Where'd it come from?
How come you're not questioning where the number came from that he just put on the screen, but you're questioning this person's number? I don't understand.
Where's the source? Okay. It was a study 5 years ago. What's it called?
Why aren't you looking up this study? Why aren't you looking up this information here?
My source is I made it the fuck up.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Child S-ring in Haiti. And it goes on and on and on. Like, they are genuinely a very dangerous organization. And you have to rely on their word and what they're trying to do to justify banning anime and manga.
They never even said that, though. Like, that wasn't what they said. Like, it's nothing to do with it.
These people are not to be trusted whatsoever. But she continues on here.
And that's what the UN.
So, okay, that was great. So Asmongold goes in on this girl because of her silly hair. But when this guy proposes statistics about the UN actually being a child pedophile ring, he does zero information research. He literally chastised an audience member that says, hey, there is some abuse inside of anime and manga. And Asmongold goes, yeah, where'd you get that statistic? Oh, you made it up? This guy puts shit on the screen that you don't even fact check. That's just trying to push that the UN is some kind of like secret shadow fucking pedophile cabal. When if you look into it, what ends up happening is the UN gets money for relief and then they give other countries money or organizations in those other countries money to do charity. And then the people in those countries will sometimes use that as an excuse or as a haven to molest children. It's not like the UN loves being pedophilic. It said like there's a chain of money. The UN isn't like this massive cosmic force. they give money to different organizations in the area and hire people to do stuff, and then some bad people take advantage of that. And if you think that makes the entire UN bad, then you think that it makes the entire Catholic churches are full of fucking rapist pedophiles, because what happened there? There was an actual issue in churches. So, like, there's different people in different groups that do bad things. We understand how this is. I mean, there's some people in the Muslim community, like Sneeko, justifying why it's okay for 20-year-olds to rape 12-year-olds in a marriage, a legal marriage. That's not all Muslim people. But if you want to engage like this, then you're being fucking insane. But Asmongold has no commentary on anything except for making fun of this girl, even though throughout this entire thing, this guy is justified a lolly. It's fucking insane. It's just crazy.
Wants them to address.
I think this is so funny. Watch my reaction to Asmongold's reaction to the UN's attempt to get Japan to censor the nastiest. It's not even what I was talking about. Like, I wasn't even talking about this. I never even was talking about this issue to begin with. She getting mad about something that I didn't even say. Okay. She don't even know what the hell she's talking about.
That might be a reasonable criticism. There's no reason for you to watch this video if you're gonna fucking pussyfoot around it.
Like, I don't know. This is amazing.
I love how he's just so weak. It's just like when he watches the video, he will ignore commentary that he wants to and then go, well, I never said anything about that, so I'm not really going to give you too much commentary. Yeah, Lolicon, yeah, it's not great. I wouldn't let my kid be around it. It should probably be legal, though. Not a big deal. Oh, shit. Yeah, you know what? 10-year-old drawn children, that's the same as a fucking drawn adult that might, like, that's what the fuck is this commentary? I really don't understand this commentary. It's fucking insane. I don't get it. I mean, he's just trying so hard. I don't even understand the motivation here. I don't think that Asmongold likes to jerk off or sex or anything. I'm pretty sure like any of his testosterone is completely eradicated from whatever, like somehow less healthier than my habits are. I mean, we're talking about a guy who used a dead rat as an alarm clock and would rip his teeth out and like fucking smear the blood on the walls. So I guess his entire fucking testosterone is completely destroyed. So I can't imagine that he jerks off or he likes kids or anything like that. So like, what's the motivation for being a fucking coward about this? I don't understand.
It's actually scary being a woman in Japan. They literally
it's scary being a woman in Japan.
I want to see what his take on the fucking
all right, explain.
Trains are.
Specific train carriages that women can take to not share carriages with men during busy travel times so that they don't get sexually abused or touched inappropriately or have pictures
it's a good idea.
Cool.
Their upskirts taken. Just trying to get home.
It's a good idea to have that, and also an example of how the country acknowledges an issue when it comes to women.
From work.
Yeah.
So this pretty much is where it always ends
That's
up,
it?
right? So
Yep,
it begins with,
idea.
I don't like this anime and manga, blah, 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 blah. Then it turns into just, well, I mean, what else do you call it? Racism. They're basically trying to imply that the entire nation of Japan is so predatory that no woman is safe in that country. And it's an absolutely outrageous thing to say. Yes, there are sex crimes in Japan, just like there are throughout the entire world. It doesn't make Japan unique in any sort of a way. And the only justification this person has is because they produce anime and manga, which that somehow makes them special. I mean, of course, reported sex crimes.
No commentary. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. And then the other guy's like, yeah, this girl's trying to make it seem like Japanese people are fundamentally worse when it comes to sex crime. Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, that's a good point. It's not the point.
Crimes are sometimes a misleading number because people just don't report that they're victimized. But this person's from Ireland, trying to be a white savior and wagging their finger.
So you look at 21.9 in Ireland and 1.3 in Japan?
What does Ireland's issues have to do with Japan's issues? Ireland doesn't make anime. So they're not going to be a country defended by a fucking Lolicon gooner. Ireland doesn't make Lolicon either. What is the comparison of another country has no relevance here. Why do you think a country decided they needed a woman-only train car? It's because they obviously acknowledge that they have an issue with women getting molested, or abused in some capacity. When you have them, they have a law that you have to have the fucking like sound on when you take a picture because women are having like parts of them taking pictures of them. What? Huh?
They must have a lot of anime over in Ireland that's causing them to be rapists, right? I mean, they must have a lot of anime over there.
Holy shit.
Damn, bro.
Japan. Look at the rates at Ireland versus Japan.
Okay.
Again, reports aren't the most reliable thing, but I think maybe, just maybe...
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not. It's just, yeah, they're not. There's no intelligence here. There's no intelligence. Yeah, they're not. They're not. They're not. They may not be, based on many different aspects. Western countries have more robust, honest statistic reporting. Western countries have a higher definition of rape, where more things are included, whereas other countries where it's legal to rape your spouse are not going to include that in their definition of rape. So yes, statistics can be misleading. But when he says, yeah, they're not, he's just sitting here fucking jerking off his audience of people who are completely conspiracy brained, like fucking degenerate children.
You should sit this conversation out. But let's wrap this up here. One more quote I want you guys to listen to.
And I think if you're a real person with a real conscience and your heart goes out to the women of Japan.
Honestly, Asmongold's not a real person or a person. He's just not. I don't know what else to tell you. This person, he's never lived, this person. He's never lived in a way that a normal person has. He's just a disgusting degenerate that just seems to have always failed, and he somehow failed upwards to becoming a streamer with no valuable point of view or relatability. We're talking about a 30-something-year-old, I can only imagine, that has never held a real meaningful career job in his life. He got very popular making fucking Warcraft content based off the fact that he is disgusting. That's what the entire meme has been from the start. He's so disgusting, people point and laugh at him, and he's been able to make that into a career. And he speaks with confidence, ignorantly, but he has no fucking idea what's going on in the real world. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He's just a caricature of a person. There's nothing going on there. That's literally it. There's nothing here. There's no meaningful anything outside of like what video game is cool, because that's what he does, play a lot of video games. He doesn't know what it's like to work a job in any real capacity, any meaningful capacity. I don't give a fuck that like, oh well, he used to be poor. This motherfucker had his adult life was nothing. He's never cared about himself or anything that's going on around him. I don't like what's the point of listening to his topic or what opinion here? And right now he's just fucking on his knees guzzling his fucking audience, and they're like insane delusions. It's just fucking weird. This is pathetic.
Japan, you have to put up with these men. Then
heart should go out to the women of Ireland.
Okay.
You know, because like of the numbers and everything. Like, I don't know, that's just me, right? I mean, maybe you should think about them.
You should be on the side of UN for them to be more censored and not allow for this to happen.
No words, ladies and gentlemen. You have to take the side of the UN here and ban this anime and manga. Otherwise, you just don't care about women. I guess that's the route we're...
Okay, so I just want to be very clear, because people are like, well, he had a job before. I need people to understand. I know that people in my audience understand what I say when I say a real job. A real job is not just having a job. A real job is actually being older and having responsibilities. When you're telling me that he had a job when he was in his very early 20s, that's not a real meaningful job where somebody has a extraordinary amount of different life stressors that are placed onto them. One of which is a relationship stressor, which he doesn't seem to necessarily engage in. And that's fine if you don't. We're talking about a grown child that got popular in 2011? Got popular over 10 years ago, completely disconnected. Any level of relatability he may have had from the seemingly normal life that he had is completely dead. It's completely gone. And this is where we're at. It's not the same. It's not the same as working into your 30s where you're legitimately getting decimated by life every single day. Okay? Maybe I should have said a career. He's never had a real career job. Okay? This isn't somebody who has had to worry. This is just not somebody who worries anymore. He's just so disconnected based on all these fucking takes. What does a real job even mean? A real job is when it has a real stressor on your life. Any job is a real job. Working at McDonald's is a real job if you're in your 30s. If you're 18 years old working at McDonald's, you don't have any real meaningful life stressors onto you. When you're 30 working at McDonald's, you have real meaningful life stressors onto you. These are two very different things that are going on here. Okay, this guy's completely disconnected. He doesn't know what it is or remembers what it is to live like a middle-class individual.
We're going with this one. This is insane.
Sad.
Also, I think her mind would explode if she found out that a very large portion of...
She's making a video about Conor McGregor. He just got, convicted of rape.
Okay.
Man. I guess Conor must have been looking at too much anime, bro. He probably looking at too much anime. Oh, God. Look at this. Oh, my God. I'm a terrible person now. What? Not rape, assault? Oh, it's only assault. Okay. Oh. You're right.
Okay.
Thai artist.
This is why I wanted to watch the actual person's video first. This weird Lolicon fucking fuckface. Because we needed the unfiltered perspective. Because Asmongold's filter is pathetic. He's pathetic.
Are women. So like, what are we? It's all just men. This went from I don't like anime and manga to
yes. When you work to support yourself and other people, that's a real job. Absolutely, that's what I mean by a real job.
There's a big predatory problem in Japan, and also Japanese men are somehow uniquely dangerous. Yeah. I mean, that's how far it went.
We have another cum guzzler. Yeah, the disconnect is coming from Asmon, clearly not taking the topic seriously, because he just came in here to see what the girl said, and everything else is just whatever. No, that's not it at all. Asmongold's a fucking loser. This is what he does consistently. This is what he does consistently over and over again. He always does this. When it comes to any like conservative-leaning talking point, he guzzles its cum. When it comes to a progressive-leaning talking point, he doesn't give a singular fuck. I don't know. This isn't the first time we've engaged in this. Like, it's just not. He's consistently pulling fucking obnoxious, childish bullshit like this. This is just what he's been doing consistently. This isn't the first time that I've engaged in this, like with Asmongold. It's a consistent pattern. Every time you look at him, he's just saying some dumb, degenerate shit. Like, he's a coward. He's a loser. He's a fucking coward. He guzzles conservative cum. He lives on Twitter, and he wants those people to like him. And so he says things so that these people on Twitter like him. That's the entire center point of his perspective. I don't know what else to tell you. If you don't understand that, I guess you don't watch enough of him or his commentary. I have like 1 or 2 other videos on Asmongold. The one about how he's like changing his life. I think I've talked about him like 4 times. His interaction with Hassan, or his original perspective, his interaction with Hassan when he said he's going to get better, some interaction he had with Destiny, and then this. And then like as every video goes on, the charitability wanes. Because it's just, it gets harder and harder to defend. The good faith that I had for Asmongold's gone. Like, it's just like the 5th video that we're interacting, where we're seeing what's going on with him. And it's just, he's obviously a fucking loser. That's literally it. That's where we're at.
All you had to do was say, I don't like these things in certain anime and manga. I'm just going to avoid them. But no.
You're talking about fucking drawn CP.
At this level, and it always does for some reason. But that's going to do it for this video. I thought this was funny,
bro.
So I wanted
this is funny to me on like 5
guys.
different levels.
As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Here's what's so funny to me about it.
What's so funny to you, bud?
It's the fact that the entire conversation is naturally around something I never even said. I was never even talking about the UN.
This is just the coward perspective he uses to like not have any meaningful take on any of the things that he said that were wrong.
I wasn't talking about any sort of type of anime.
Then why react to the video? Why not just react to her saying the clip and then move on? Because he doesn't feel this way. This is just an excuse to not actually have to engage with what's being said.
I was talking about credit card processing and credit processing companies and payment processing companies, excuse me, that categorically act in a certain way that resembles a cartel, and I think they violate antitrust laws. She heard that, and I guess she thought I was thinking about the UN. Most
of the video had nothing to do with you, just to be absolutely clear. Most of the video had like nothing meaningful to do with you. Her clickbaiting you, like, oh, that's so sad. All the intro was about you, and it seemed like she clickbaited you, which you can criticize, that's fine. The rest of it had nothing to do with you, and you knew that, and you continued to engage, and you were like, yeah, Lolicon's not really so bad. And then kind of just moved on and danced across the point, even though she made a lot of decent points. She's talking about like the violence that women are receiving in Japan to the point where they need to have separate train cars for women, and there has to be a law that the cameras have to make sound. Phone cameras have to make sound when they go off. And he's like, oh, that's racist. And you're like, fucking gargling through it.
So she makes a video about how I'm wrong, and I don't know what is this, the title, Asmongold reaction, watch my reaction to Asmongold's reaction to the UN's attempt. That's not...
Okay.
Oh, God.
Whatever.
It's not even what I said. Who is this? Zero proofreading? No, zero reading. That's different. She didn't listen, man. They get emotional without focusing on the subject to begin with. Yeah, she's not even thinking. This is the thing.
When that person says they get emotional, he's saying women get emotional when they look at subjects. And Asriel's like, yeah. Either he's dumb or he doesn't realize that, or he knows that and he's just walking past it because he's okay with that type of like language. Women are so emotional. Okay, yeah. Men aren't emotional at all. That's incredible. Thank you for $5 from Big Ounce. By the way, men are emotional. And not acknowledging men's emotions is like one of the problems that men have. But yeah, let's just kind of go right past that one. Feign ignorance. Thanks for $5 from Big Ounce. I think it's fine for Asmon to be mean here since she didn't bring up his points or the video and is just smearing his name to get more views. What are you talking about? She made a seemingly bad point about it, and then he went off here. It was like, oh, she's an emo loser, ha ha ha. Said nothing about this fucking child PFP. What are you talking about? This person jerks off to fucking drawn child porn. What are you saying? Sorry. I appreciate the money. I think that you're being too charitable to Asmongold. I've seen enough of Asmongold shit to know that this guy's a fucking coward cocksucker. I don't know what else to say. He's a coward.
People just don't think. I made a video about this. I said people don't know how to think. Everybody said, oh.
Asmongold doesn't know how to think. This guy's a fucking coward. Holy fuck.
I don't know. I don't think that's it. That's it. People don't like to think. It's sad. Credit card companies will attempt to distort and extire culture. It's clearly connected to the UN's attempt to censor anime. Well, I mean, I would say, like, to be fair, you could easily say that they're connected. You could. Their KFC is better. I heard that. Yeah, no, I could easily say they're connected. But to say that they're the same thing isn't the truth. And that wasn't the part I was talking about. Yeah, okay. I didn't even talk about the UN thing. So.
Then why watch the rest of the video?
That's nuts, man. Masturbator, yeah, I guess so. It's all about refugees? What's it about refugees? What fucking refugee? What are people talking about refugees for? Well, anyway, yeah, it's just amazing to me that people try to, people try, this is good, I only killed the video. People try to turn this into something I didn't even say. I didn't even do. Yeah, it's unreal.
Do I have evidence of whacking off the CB? Yeah, I watched him. Bro, when Vosh had the whole controversy going on, this Rev Desu guy defended the Lolicon part and just called Vosh like a coward. That's it. That's like all his entire commentary was. So that I think that's pretty good evidence. This guy's probably jerks off to fucking, you know, fucking Lolicon. Also, did you like just see the PFE? What adult? I don't even know how to communicate this to people. If you don't think it's weird that a grown fucking 30-year-old, 40-year-old goddamn adult uses this as their VTube picture, I don't even know how to talk to you. I don't even know how you got here. I just don't even know. What's just bizarre behavior. Okay, we need to go back to stereotyping people. All right, if I see somebody with if I see a grown ass man with this VTube picture, I'm gonna think you're weird. I don't understand. Okay, some stereotypes are okay to engage with. Okay,
real to me that people are coming out and talking like this. Yeah, she got emotional about something that was rightfully bad, then conflating it with something that she said. Nah, yeah, no, but I mean, if you get emotional...
She got super emotional?
And then, like, getting emotional causes you to just turn off your brain and be stupid, then...
Bro, you decided to turn off your brain for every one of the points that she was making that was reasonable. So, I mean, I don't, like, you're sitting here saying that she's emotional. What are you?
It's being stupid.
You're fucking brain dead? I don't understand.
That's really the reason why. And so, like, I don't really... I hate this, you know, the thinking that people have about, like, oh, well, you know, I got in my feelings about it. Yeah, you get in your feelings about it.
Every time that Asmongold tries to speak, he tries to say something that's supposed to be so, like, amazing and euphoric. He's trying to make like this amazing fucking like clippable like fucking point where it's like, yeah, guys, some people are so emotional and they get so caught up in there, and then this guy guzzles cum. What do you talk, dude? You're a coward. Don't try to give people life advice. Your life has never been relatable or meaningful in any capacity. You have no positive contribution except for the tax money that you pay. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, what life advice could you get from the 30-something-year-old that rips his own teeth out, smears his blood on the wall, uses dead rats as a fucking alarm clock, can't clean his own fucking room, can't get into a relationship, is dirty, degenerate, disgusting, is popular for being a disgusting meme? That's why Asmongold became popular. He's popular for not having enough self-respect. That's really what it comes down to. What advice could I possibly get from you as a person? Like, what are we getting? Why would anybody, if you're looking at Asmongold and going, this is some interesting advice, this is really good, I really like this guy's perspective, how old are you and where do you come from? What is your perspective? I could not imagine somebody, like, going and working a real, meaningful, adult job with responsibilities, regardless of what the job is, and coming home and going, this is the guy I want to listen to. This is the one that seems really relatable. Could you imagine being like an adult, like 30 years old, you just went to work, you came home from like working like your fucking mechanic job, you know, you're working outside all day in the summer and out and like fucking in the winter, because, you know, I used to work with mechanics. And you're just fucking beat up and you're beat down to shit, and you get home and you're with your wife and you guys are struggling financially and you're having a rough day. You know what I mean? That bitch didn't put dinner on the fucking table because she had a bad day too. So you can't hit her anymore. You're not allowed. No, but you have like a horrible day and you come home and you listen to the 30-something-year-old that's never lived an actual meaningful, regulated lifestyle where he's had any actual responsibilities. And you're like, this is the guy I want to listen to. The fuck? Who do you think gravitates towards you? Who gravitates towards you? What do you think your audience is full of? Honestly, nobody's doing that. The only people that might be adults doing that are people that wish they were you. And if you wish that you were Asmongold, I would probably end it there. I don't know what to tell you. It's pathetic. Anyway. Thank you for the $10 from Big Ounce. I know you mean Papa, but I think this is what happens when somebody's mad about being brought into a convo that they shouldn't be, and Asmon's talking about something else he shouldn't be. No, I just disagree. I don't think that you watched the entire video from the start. I just don't. I appreciate the money, but I don't think that. I just disagree. Rewatch the entire segment when I put it together. Whatever.
then you're being a fucking moron. What are you doing getting in your feelings about it? Don't be emotional about it. Like, you want everybody.
This guy's real life is Twitter. I just want you to understand Asmongold's real life is Twitter. Asmongold doesn't leave the house. He doesn't interact with family. He doesn't interact with friends in any meaningful capacity. He doesn't have to go to work. He has nothing going on. His entire life is Twitter. When he turns on his computer and he starts reading Twitter, that is a replacement for human, real-life interactions. That's the same thing as me getting up, hanging out with my wife, hanging out with our friends, hanging out with our family, actually leaving the house and like doing meaningful things with actual people and having human interactions. This is the replacement for that. This is his replacement for going to a real job and talking to a coworker. It's reading through Twitter, which is just absolute fucking brain rot. It's at least as bad, probably worse than doing the same with TikTok. I would say it's worse. Twitter is basically fucking 4chan. Literally with the porn. That's it. That is his life. That is who you're deciding to go. Good point. What do you want me to tell you? It's a fucking right-wing psychopath tank. It would be bad if it was a left-wing too. The literal owner boosts his own he literally boosts his own algorithm, whatever, viewership on his own post because he got butthurt so hard because Joe Biden got like a fucking his like happy Thanksgiving message or whatever last year was more popular than his. So he artificially boosted his shit. All he does is like push off right-wing conspiracy theories to the point where if you ask like the own AI, I literally saw this post the other day. If you ask Twitter's AI if Elon Musk pushes misinformation, it says yes. He's a moron. But okay. Incredible.
Everybody else got to be stupid because you're stupid. So you can't control yourself, so now everybody else has to walk around you. Have you ever traveled to Japan? No, I haven't. Maybe one day I will. I'll be right back. I gotta use the bathroom.
Great. Cool stuff, man. At least he didn't keep the video running when he went to the bathroom. Let me be absolutely clear. Thank you for the $5 from Big Ounce. I mean, he was talking about credit processors acting as a monopoly and not letting companies use them versus this, i.e., it means he is butthurt over this. If your argument is he's butthurt over this, then why is he going off on a fucking crybaby tirade about how she's fucking emotional? She's too emotional? That's emotional for him. All right? He seems like that she mischaracterized his original point, and then he sat there through the entire rest of the video just making fun of her, reinforcing every one of the points from the guy who jerks off the Lolicon CP, dude. I don't understand what you want me to tell you. I think you're being like... I'm a 34-year-old grown fucking man. Asmongold is, I think, my age as well. He's like 33 or 34 fucking years old. This is not an acceptable excuse. He's not some fucking 15-year-old. All right, the other day when that crazy, insane 15-year-old said that all people are afraid of black people, I'll give him a little bit of charitability because he's a child. This is a 34-year-old man. That's a grown man. Men need to be held to a higher standard than fucking children. I mean, oh my, he got a little bit butthurt about being misrepresented by a 2,000 view video that had no impact on him while he was reacting to a video that was just guzzling his cum while he guzzled the fucking Lolicon enjoyer's cum. Raise your standards for men. Honestly, raise your standards for men. Don't hold men to such a low standard. I think it's embarrassing for people to do stuff like that. I think it's pathetic. All right. I love you. Thank you for the donations, but hold men to a fucking standard, okay? Men are better than women. Act like it. I'm kidding.